We're going to talk about loopholes. Oh, wow. Okay, let me start from the top. Check this out. Loophole. I got a card reader for my door. I've been here in my residence for 11 years. I've not once used that card reader. As I stated, because again, I forget to press record. You want to make sure that no one has entered my apartment by key card. And if they did, that they actually posted that they were going to enter into my apartment. And also that posting that they were, by law supposed to place 24, 72 hours before, that I do have that, because I don't throw away anything they stick to my door. So you want to make sure that either you delete when someone entered into my home by key card, or if you're going to let it sit there, make sure that you come in here and rumble through the paperwork of every piece of paper that they've put on my door for the last 11 years and make sure one of them contains permission to enter. Right. Got that. So this video is speaking about loopholes. Loopholes that are utilized by, more than anything, probably secret societies. That is like the topic for me. Why? I know that I'm currently involved. I know that I'm currently being surveyed, but this goes back further. This goes back to when I was a youngster, when I was in foster care, and CIA, I do know this, were involved in replicating an experiment that had its origin in Germany. A psychologist, if I'm not mistaken, a psychologist who was who's also homosexual, also a pedophile, had a great idea or grand idea to take foster youth and place them in the home of a pedophile and have that pedophile raise these children, knowing that this pedophile is going to these children. And this went on for a while, and this experiment, as it was termed, was monitored. So what I'm believing, I love coincidence, right? But we know the validity or the factual points to make about coincidence, right? The fact that I myself was placed in a foster home, that I myself had experienced trauma, sexual abuse at the hands of a pedophile, right? And likely, very likely, coincidence, of course, that this particular individual is prior military. And where was he stationed at the time of these experiments going on in Germany? Duh, he was in Germany. This is too coincidental, ain't it? Please go check the paperwork. The people that, when I just blurt out, say something to somebody that's, they know who I'm talking to. The foster parent that I was placed in the care of was a former military drill sergeant. People say, why are you living and staying in the past? Well, here's the deal with me living and staying in the past, regurgitating this over and over. For as long as someone who ever truly believe that they are doing what they're doing as an action of retribution for things, I'm going to continue to state my past. My past being a path that was molded by the very agency that this person retired from. May have knew some about it, he may not have. The very intelligence agency that this person worked for is the same intelligence agency that my foster father, I'm very certain, also worked for to replicate this experiment of placing foster youth in the care of pedophiles and raising them and monitoring and surveillance over the entire thing. I will say this. 7 in alphabet terms is G. 9 in alphabet terms is I. The first time I was told to or asked to play the lotto for this foster father, I won. I never played the lottery, whatever. It was 40 million. I'll never forget. I won. 5 out of the 6 numbers it was, 4 out of 5, however many it was, back in Illinois playing the lotto. The very next year, it was 5 out of 6 I got it. The very next year, they said if you got 5 out of the 6 numbers, we automatically give you $100 grand. So a year before that happened, I got 5 out of 6, and they gave me $79. They gave me 7 G9I dollars. They gave me GI dollars. This was the summer of 1990. July 12th, I entered into the military to become a GI. This is the CIA telling my foster father where I'm going. That's how I know it was the CIA in my life at the age of 17 when I went in the military. And at this particular time, I'm still involved with the CIA because the CIA has equipment in the floor or in the apartment above me, and at the same time, an individual in the apartment above me, that my internet is going through them. Let's keep going with this loophole now, okay? If you want to, shits and giggles, you want to experiment on someone, what do? Well, you want to, if you can, you want to get their signature, right? If you can't, then you want to put this particular subject in a confined space and area. And since you're going to be testing or experimenting on this individual, you don't need them getting in contact with friends or family. So you're going to sever these lines. This is textbook Sun Tzu, Art of War. Tactics that you would use against an enemy to make sure that they don't have supplies. They can't resupply. They can't get food. They can't get ammunition. Sun Tzu, Art of War. Break the communication line. I'm seeing all of this here. Where I never had an issue with my assistants being interrupted. The COVID happened. It happens. So COVID happens. Loophole. Here's a loophole, guys. COVID happens. Everyone automatically on assistance, getting stamps, general leave. At least for getting your stamps, they give everyone an additional $95. Do I get it? No. What's the loophole? You make sure he never gets the mail telling him he's to get an additional $95. And because the narcissists love the fact that they were able to do this, they folded the piece of paper up and made sure that I got it when it was over. Kind of like, hey, fuck you, you've been running here starving. You didn't even know you were supposed to get another extra $95. Thank you. This is what is a loophole. How did this happen? They got to my mail. They got to my mail. And they removed, or it never even was put in there. Maybe they did it later. But they made sure that I found that I was supposed to get it because it was highlighted. So I said, you telling me I was supposed to have another $95 like everybody else in California, but I never got it? You singled me out to make me feel a type of way. It's a loophole. If the members of a society are working for a social service that we as citizens would depend on as your DMV, your license, your ID, as in your aid office, your assistance or whatever, your social security office. If there are members of an organization that they work in these offices that are detrimental to your providing a way of living. Because the other thing with that is that everyone knows, a particular society, that if you get on their bad side for whatever reason they judge that, then you're gonna have a hell of a time just trying to live. And see, for me, this has been like calculus, and I have to say this. This has been like calculus. Because there has been so much that has happened in my life. There go the violin, I'm right there with you. There has been so much happen in my life. One chapter to the next chapter. Each one of these chapters is some type of conflict, some type of trauma. Each chapter. But I'm not special. This happens to everyone, right? I know, I hear you out there. Loopholes. Member of a society. They are postmen. This postman knows your name. You don't get the mail that you're supposed to get. Better yet, if your mail does come here, they have a key to your mailbox so that the apartment manager can take it out right after they leave with the mail and give that mail to the person that believe they are privileged to have your mail, your name. Loophole. How do you prove it? You go down there with the mailman there. They can get around that too, because I thought myself that maybe, hey, just be down there when the mailman gets there. I've heard the mailman come at 11:30, 12. I've heard the mailman come at 3, 4:30, 5 o'clock in the evening. I'm not about to get up and try to chase somebody for some mail. I've never had a problem with my mail until someone had a problem with me and chose to make everything that I take for granted, or everything that a person would take for granted, a privilege to have it extended to you. Like the nerve of this person to think that he's owed this. I'm going to say this to you. Yes, I am owed it. I'm former military. And I do know that the course of action that has been taken in my case is the action that you can take, because why? Just as you're acting and behaving and placing obstacles and situations in my life, utilizing loopholes, let me see the finger, you recognize that perhaps I used loopholes that caught your attention. How about that? Who would know how to use loopholes to catch someone's attention who is well versed with the loopholes, especially if you are law enforcement? Law enforcement know exactly what they have to do to put you in handcuffs legally. Talk to you nicely, position their hand on your car door while talking to you nicely, and open your door for you. Hey, let me get you that. Hey, it's kind of hot out here. Help! Oh, don't hold. Let me help you out. Extend the hand on the inside, and as soon as you step outside their car, they throwing you up against the car, and they got you in handcuffs. They, by law, can do that. Only when they get you out of that vehicle. I know that. Loopholes. Who else utilizes loopholes? Lawyers, judges. So what is the importance of these loopholes? One, it's important that you perhaps even know they exist. And who would know of the loopholes that exist? Those people in law enforcement and the enforcement of those laws. Judges, lawyers. Now, what is the possibility of law enforcement, judges, lawyers, all belonging to one secret society? What would that do? Let me just throw it out there. You have a judge that's part of a secret society. He's asked to do a favor for a fellow by a lawyer who is also a fellow. This lawyer now had someone who was a police officer who had got himself into a little tiff. He had gotten drunk, whatever. He had smacked someone's car. Someone got hurt. Looks like he's going to lose his job. But he's a police officer. And not only is he a police officer, he's with the Fraternal Order of Police. He's also a member of the secret society. So what does one fellow do for this police officer? What does the lawyer, what does this fellow, the lawyer, do for his fellow police officer? He ensures that he doesn't lose his job. How? He utilizes loopholes. Any type of loophole he could find to eliminate the possibility of this police officer losing their job. Now, if this would have happened to anyone else, the likelihood of them losing their job, it's open shut. You were drunk, you smashed this person's car, and you left the scene. I'm throwing this in there. Yeah, you're gone. But because he's a fellow who's being represented by a fellow who is being judged by a fellow, do you see where this is going? Loophole, loophole everywhere. Who can get in and out of our court or our judicial system? Anyone that is a member of a secret society that arrest, defend, or prosecute, and then judge. That's who can make it out. That is a hellified loophole that no one in this country cares to address. Why? Because the people that would make judgments on that are what? In the society too. That sounds like to me a massive, massive injustice that perhaps would need to be seen by the Supreme Court from an independent authority to judge it, seeing that the judges themselves being members of this constitute it being unjust. How can we have members of a secret society that judge, defend, or prosecute, arrest, and investigate, and they happen to be a part of one secret society? Just say, just for shits and giggles, right? This guy, he has a daughter. His daughter gets involved with a young man who's the opposite color. He don't like that. So what does he do? He tells his police officer friend, hey, pull him over for nothing. Put this in his car. They do that. He gets in trouble. Then he gets to court. There's a fellow that's a lawyer. He gets him to hang him dry, right? It's injustice. I don't care how you look at that. For this to be a matter to be taken up in the courts here in America, it would have to go to the top. And it going to the top would mean those people sitting at the top cannot be a part of an organization that is responsible for the fair judging in a civil criminal case. I know that people with background in law, they won't say anything about this though, but they know that this is my word lately for some reason, immutable truth. I'm sorry, expletive wanted to come out my mouth at that moment. How the heck can we have people, from the time you are placed in handcuffs, you are basically at the mercy not of the judicial system, the court system. You're at the mercy of a secret society that has a member in every step when you engage into the justice system. And even beyond that, if when put it on you, you get locked up or incarcerated, they definitely got members there. I'm smelling injustice around here somewhere. I really am. And interesting enough, I don't know the word for it, but I know that this has happened. What is it? Recuse? Is that the word? Please, somebody listen. Is that the word? Recuse? A judge recused themselves? I might be wrong. Because of some conflict. So how then can you get your lawyer to recuse themselves, the prosecutor to recuse themselves, the police officer that involved you in this crap recuse themselves? How can you get the judge? How can you get any of these people to recuse themselves if they don't admit that they are part of a secret society, which they don't have to? So then that will go into the hiring practices dealing with the government, where people would argue that you do not have to reveal if you're a part of the PTA club. I agree. But guess what? You do have to reveal if you're part of a secret society by X, Y, and Z name, and this society is known to have members in this part of the judicial branch, this part of the legislative branch, this part in law enforcement. I can see that. So this is what I'm saying. And this is all venting. We're speaking about loopholes, hopefully, right? We're speaking about loopholes. This is how certain people are afforded a certain level of comfortability in their life, stress-free, all this sort of stuff. Because as I mentioned before, just about, I want to say cycle, every turn in my life, new chapter is like conflict, trauma. Where the heck is this? And I assume the responsibility of placing myself in those different situations. But this last time, I cannot do that. Because I do know where it was so hard for me to stop living the life that I had chose to live. I finally had something to push me up out of that. And that which pushed me up out the life that I was living was something that I had been afflicted of, and it started to manifest, to my dismay, but to others, great joy. Because they knew what they had done for it to manifest. I did not know until so many years later what did happen for it to start to manifest, which meant that what this meant to me was that the trauma that was placed in my life at an early age was known to manifest certain things or behavior, maladaptive behavior in my life. When I was placed in certain situations for this maladaptive behavior to surface, they surfaced, but not in the manner that they were expecting them to surface. I spoke to this gentleman who stays in my building around the corner here, and we had the same kind of conversation that I'm speaking of now, and I told him, I understand what happened to me. I cannot understand why there's a lack of willpower or fight against it without knowing that somehow or another my walls that I had erected myself to keep me out of trouble had been broken or torn down. And the only thing that I could say how they were broken or torn down is by me being involved in an accident and then subsequently my cranial structure being compromised, where they had to actually go into my head. That is the only hint to how the walls that I had constructed within myself to protect me from that could be broken. And that's how it happened. I know it, and they know that I know it. But see, what I'm believing is that obviously I'm African American. This was something, as I mentioned before, this is CIA replicating an experiment. A psychiatrist, psychologist, his name is Kentler. Look it up. You think I'm lying. Kentler. Kilo Edward Kentler. Niagara Tango Lima Echo Rico? Right. Something like that. Look it up. It's there. CIA chose to replicate this experiment, and they did so. And there's more that I can speak about, but I'm going to just leave that like that for you guys. This little bit of podcast, 26 minutes, I'm going to tie it off right now. Speaking about loopholes, okay? And generally, for what I just mentioned to you guys, in speaking about loopholes, these loopholes are utilized by whom? People that know them. Who are the people that know the loopholes? The people that make the laws and enforce the laws. Who are those people? Members of secret societies. How is that legally just and binding in a country that's supposed to, you have the free will to this and right to that? How's that right? How's that? I guess there's a loophole to it being right to justify them doing that too, right? I'm curious, and if you have ideas about that one. But I'm secure in knowing that if, follow my train of thought, if individuals, and this is something that's pretty popping right now, if individuals can be found guilty of certain crimes that other gang members committed and they knew about them, it's called RICO, right? How can that, the only way, check this out, the only way I can see that people of certain organizations or secret societies can utilize these loopholes and not be criminalized or penalized by using them is if what? There exist loopholes to the loopholes, legalese jargon. I guarantee you these loopholes are placed there by the people that make the laws to ensure that they may utilize these loopholes. There are going to be certain things that's added so that they fall up under the jurisdiction or the umbrella of how someone can use this loophole. That's just thinking, that's how I would do it. So the last one, I'm going to let you go. For the life of me, I've been trying to figure out, first of all, the memory is a beautiful thing, the brain, it is. I've been trying to figure out when I was at a particular shelter why it felt like the car was running, if you know what that means. like there's a vibration underneath you? Why does it feel like the car is running? I'm in a building. We're not going to, oh, there's some type of machine or something down there, whatever, you know. And then what that did, that jogged my memory from when I was a youngster in 1990, 91. And that same vibration is what I felt on board USS Eisenhower. I said, this is the same vibration. The same vibration that I felt on board ship while it was, what do we say? In home port. It's the same vibration that I feel inside of a shelter. What are they doing with the same machines that the military got, the Navy got? Better yet, what is the public housing complex that I live in that also have this same vibration? What are they doing with these machines? Who would have access to these machines? That wasn't an easy question for me to answer, but the fact that I knew that the CIA was involved in certain things in my past and currently tells me exactly who the CIA, because the CIA also uses the members of secret societies to test certain things on, which makes every bit of sense why those machines will be found in a shelter that is ran by a secret society, because the CIA has those machines doing what they're doing to these individuals, suspected or unsuspected. But what is it doing underneath my floor? I'm private. I'm prior military. See, for that to go over smooth, they needed to do this to someone that, if they were in the military, that they were not in the Navy. I was in the Navy. Yes, we had the same machines, maybe different from the ones you have now, but we had the same machines. It felt like the ship was sitting there idling. That's the type of machines we had back then when the boat felt like it was vibrating. I know what it is now. Didn't make sense why it was in the shelter, as it does not make sense why it's underneath my floor or in the apartment beneath me. The only thing connecting the dots with that is, follow my train of thought, CIA replicating an experiment, psychologist Kentler in Germany, placing pedophiles as caretakers for children, foster children. That's CIA involvement prior to me going in the military. Then getting in the military, I'm going to make this real quick. Then getting in the military, a pedophile, known pedophile, he's found dead in the Cayman Islands, which is at the mouth of the Mediterranean Sea. He's found dead there, and I happen to be on a ship going past the exact same time. And I've been afflicted with childhood trauma, sexual of nature, by the CIA. And now I'm within yards of a person. It's not a coincidence. The CIA used me then. Why? As I stated before, I had no issue with praising God and all this and that, but I get off a boat and make a beeline to a church in Spain just to sit there for what I thought was a few minutes. Turns out I didn't leave out that church until the next day. Judging the expression of the individuals that I saw standing outside the building, they were in their facial expression. I never knew what it meant. I know now because all these pieces are fitting together. CIA prepped me in the foster home that I was in They sent word via the lottery that I won that I was going into the military. $79 GI. He's going to be a soldier. I get to boot camp. I exchange eyeball glances at a black African American Navy SEAL. It's not a big deal to me. But he was there, as I stated before, to know what I look like. CIA again, who also conducts spy missions, spy anything with special warfare. CIA. Okay, let's keep going. So this deal with Robert Maxwell's found dead, all this and that, and I go to a church. I'm not feeling this God thing. Remember, I'm being abused in foster care, and I wait till we get to Spain to say I'm going to go to church. Hallelujah. Quit playing. CIA again. I don't leave out of that church the same day that I go in there. I leave out the next day. Or the day after that. I have no idea. But Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's father, was found dead, floating. And me, when I got back on board USS Eisenhower, I went on a marathon of trying to find as many naked Playboys, Hustler magazines as I could find to masturbate. That is not me, but that's what happened. CIA. Fast forward to current day. Getting involved with a woman, not fairly current, but current enough, getting involved with a woman whose father-in-law, is former CIA. Why do I keep running into CIA? Why? Because CIA been involved with my life from jump. Perhaps because of who truly my father is, which has been hidden to me even to this very day, who my father is, my real father. Who asked to come into a life like this, where they have to search, claw, just to find and figure out who the hell they are? Who asked for that? And then on top of that, have individuals feel it's their duty to put you through enough emotional stress or distress to the point where you want to kill a MF. CIA. So, as I said, fast forward. Woman I was in a relationship with, her father-in-law, also former CIA. I understand when I met him for the first time in the garage. I'm a mechanic, former mechanic. I got out the military. That's what I used to do. This man has a walk-in pit in the garage, and we're talking about out in the country. He has a walk-in pit for getting underneath your car. What do I think? I'm gangbanging. I'm selling drugs. Really, I'm just selling drugs. And I meet the woman that I'm with. I meet her father-in-law, and he is a mechanic like me, and he has a pit in his garage. You mean I can go drive my car and go up under my car and just put my drugs up there, or remove them when I... Beautiful. Everything is perfect for that to appear like what I can do. Did I utilize the friendship I had with this female that I was with? Did I utilize that friendship with her father-in-law, who I knew, and it was told he formerly worked for CIA? Did I use that? No. So what did I do when I did make my trips transporting drugs that I smoked? You know, marijuana. Wink, wink. You want to know what I did? You want to know what I did? Honestly, I said to myself that if I get caught on the road with drugs, there's no reason to hide it. There's no reason. More than one time, me driving 4.5 hours on the road with drugs on me, I'm just going to say marijuana, wink, wink. It was in the jacket pocket of my coat, which was right next to me, my armrest. There's no reason to hide nothing. I never got stopped or caught. It appeared to me that when you try to hide and conceal things, the energy you put into doing that is the same energy that allows it to be revealed. Does that make sense? So if you expend no energy trying to hide anything, what does that mean? If the police find something that you spent time to try and hide, all they have to do is max. Do I say max? All they have to do is match the energy that you put into hiding it. When they match that energy to reveal it, they're going to find it. It's an energetic match. But if you use no energy to hide anything and they come up with a bunch of energy searching everywhere, but where? Right next to me in a jacket pocket. It didn't cost me no energy to put that there. It took them, they used a whole lot of energy searching elsewhere, and it was right here. It sounds like I am dropping jewels for y'all. I want you to understand this. This is loopholes. This is the society. This is the realm of existence that we live in. Those of you that may tune into this, those of you that may be listening to me and I'm not supposed to know, please understand how I explain this. This is layman's term. Energy yield energy. E-Y-I. The all E-Y-I. E-Y-E. The all-seeing eye. Energy yield energy. Match energy, that's what you're going to get. As I explained it to you. You break your neck trying to hide something. The way it's going to be found is a person searching for it, matching the energy it took to hide it. Not saying you're going to be slow or stupid or anything, but if you expend little to no energy to hide something, as I stated, and then they come in there, I know it's here, I know it's here. They are, as this has happened to me also, they're going to look right over what they're looking for because they're expending more energy than it is required to reveal it. Point in case, stopped again, Wisconsin, sheriff, whatever. I got a nice puffy jacket and I got the zipper on the side pocket. You see my arm, there's a zipper right here. This zipper, if there's something, it's a puffy jacket. Okay. I got my pocket right here. It's a puffy jacket. And if there's something in this pocket and it has a bulge, the bulge isn't outside. The bulge is inside. This police officer, this sheriff, this chief, whatever, pulls me out the car. He does a pat down, then he steps back from me so he has enough of an angle to shoot me or give me an opportunity to run, because I guess he believes that's what all people of color do from the police. They run. He stepped back. He said, Open up your jacket. Show me what you got. The moment he didn't even finish saying open up your jacket before I slung open my jacket with the arm that I knew had the drugs in the pocket on the outside. I swung it open. Immediately showed him my inside pockets, opened the other side, the same thing. Guess what this chief of police it was? What was his name? I could say that. I want to say it. I can't remember right now. This Chief Lieberman. Chief Lieberman. Fountain City Police, Wisconsin. He put me in his truck so he could search my vehicle. When he put me in his church, must be somebody praying for me. Thank you. When he put me in his truck, he set me in the front seat. This same hand that had the puffy jacket, this left arm that had the puffy jacket with the bulge on the inside and the zipper on the outside, this same hand was sitting on the seat rest in between the seats. The same armrest when he finished searching my car and he got back in the truck. We're both sitting in the front seat. There's nothing dividing us. The same elbow, the same arm that's sitting on this armrest is the armrest that he used to give me my ticket. And in my thought, in my head, if he knew that what he was looking for would reach up and bite him right now, he would crap in his pants. He wrote the ticket that he gave me for finding weed, sticks, seeds, and stems. He gave me a ticket for that. And right next to where he was writing this ticket, I'm telling you, 4 finger lengths, there was over 30 grams of crack cocaine right there. What did he do? What was the example I gave you? He expended more energy than the energy it took to conceal it. The energy did not match. This is a hell of a way to explain that, but this makes sense to me. He used way more energy to find something than the energy it took to conceal it. It's mathematics. I don't know how I know that, I just do. And that didn't happen once, as I told you. That happened several times. With another story. Again, along the lines of crack cocaine. I'm not crack cocaine. Who's talking about that? No. This is about Advil. Wink, wink. I used to suffer from asthma. My cousin, only cousin, rest in peace, he also suffered from asthma. My cousin, like allegedly my brother, who I'm not so certain about right now, suffered from asthma as well. And they had the Primatene Mist inhalers. Well, I'm down the street with the good old boys, the fellas, the guys, the gangbangers, smoking, drinking, selling drugs. And I'm getting tired of having to go and run to a spot where I dash my Advil, whatever, my aspirin. So I decided to use the handheld Primatene Mist. I grabbed it, kind of took off the top, whatever this is, that, put my headache medicine in the inhaler, and I walked around with that in my hand. Sure enough, police stop us. They jump out on me and 3, 4, 5 of us. Now, the story with this again, I had no idea back then with energy. I do now. That's why I'm able to mention this. I mentioned this before. If some of you heard it, you may not. Every last one of the guys that was with me at that time, and we were placed on the hood of the police car. All of them on the hood of the police car knew what I had in that Primatene Mist inhaler bottle, the little container. They knew what was in there. Me knowing that they knew that, not wanting to risk any one of them tricking, because they themselves may be found out and had drugs on them or whatever. When the police jumped out on us and they placed us on the car, I faked like I could not catch my breath. So I can do what? Fake like I'm actually using this inhaler to immediately show my other guys that are on the car that if you got the drugs on you, you're not going to take me down with you, because I'm faking like this is real right now. Putting them at ease about being discovered. Anything. Let me put y'all at ease. I'm cool. Watch this. Thank you. I take 2-3 fake hits on the Primatene thing. I get back on the car. Say it's the Primatene. I get back on the car. They see it. I go like this. I'm just playing with it. They look at me, they hold their head down. They knew what was in there. I knew they knew what was in there. I knew I could not place my freedom in their hands. I took care of myself. I did not use an excessive amount of energy trying to hide that. What the police were doing was using an excessive amount of energy to try and find. It's all energy. You have to match exactly. It's like a combination lock. If you don't match the tumbler, they're not opening. If you don't match the energy, you're not going to find it. It's about energy. This is going to conclude. I just did this an hour, right? Loopholes. There are more things I can think of. Trust me. Other situations that I've been in my life, didn't realize that it was all relating to energy. But I do know now. I really do know now. If I could say one thing in closing. This particular time when I got stopped by Chief of Fountain City, Chief Lieberman, I will tell you that I do know that the CIA was involved in it also. Why? Because it was revealed that this Chief of Police, Fountain City, Wisconsin, was so lazy and so anxious to perform two things happened. He pulled me over in my car. He only found weed, seeds, sticks, and stems. He was mad. Kind of along the mad that I believe certain people that are watching me right now are mad. Let me tell you what his mad did for him. Please pay attention. He was so mad he did not discover someone that was carrying drugs or narcotics, as I just confessed to you guys earlier. He knew I had it, and I did. The energy didn't match. He didn't find nothing, anything. He got mad. So those of you, again, you're unhappy as to your results of watching me day in, day night, whatever, just doing little things to piss me off because you're pissed off. We're talking about matching energy. I'm talking to you for a reason. You got to match my energy. I don't have to match yours. If I'm vibrating at a high frequency, regardless of the vibrational frequency underneath me, you still have to match my vibrational frequency. It's about energy. He didn't find anything other than the weed seeds and sticks and stems. He gave me a ticket for that. I left. What happened? 2 days later, he shows up at my place of residence to serve a search warrant. He was so lazy and he was so anxious to do it, he didn't have the nerve to drive past my house to go to the court to get it notarized and signed by a judge. The warrant that was served on my home in Fountain City, Wisconsin, was not signed by a judge. That did not happen until after he found something. See, this was his, I don't want to serve this warrant and not find nothing. Like, I wasn't successful when I stopped him in his car. So I don't want that feeling that he's a narcissist. I don't want that feeling again, because I have this, that he got something. He was right, but his energy didn't match. So I don't want to serve a warrant on this man's home and not find anything. So let me go to his home first. Excuse my language. He's a nigga. He don't know that this warrant has to be searched before. I can flash it. He's not going to trip. And that's what he does. But I take that victory from him. Why? Because I knew he was eager. Because here you are at my door 2 days after you tried to find something on me and you didn't. That told me you had a personal vendetta against me. So what did I do? I took his victory. How did I take his victory? Look, you ain't got to tear this house up, man. I got X amount of in my back pocket. There's some. Let me walk to the washroom. There's some right here. You can tear it up, bro, but I'm telling you, everything is right here. It's right here. I took his victory from him because I saw at that time that he, more than anything, it was to the point that I knew that he would plant something on me, then come out of my house without finding something. And as I found out, this is why people say God is good. I would say the Creator is good, because short of the Creator being involved in this court situation that I spent 6.5 months in jail, 195 days in jail before it was overturned, or they said, well, look, they're going to drop it from a felony. They found over 2, 3, 4, stuff, whatever. And they said, we're going to drop this from a felony down to a misdemeanor. Why? Because they knew that he got that warrant illegally. And they couldn't keep their finger out of the pie. At least that's what I'm led to believe. And for once, I will interject and say this. This perhaps was another occasion where the CIA was involved. Because the drugs that they found, they sent that to the lab, and me reading the paperwork of what's going on in my case, realized that the amount that they had taken from me, from my possession, was not the amount that they sent to the lab to be tested. What I discovered, and I was supposed to discover, was that a half an ounce was missing. It just took me to notice that it was a half an ounce to get a felony facing 7 to 10 years in Wisconsin jails demoted to time served 195 days, dropped from a felony to a misdemeanor. I would have never got that if I didn't read the paperwork. And I insisted with my public pretender. I'm not accepting those 7 years. I don't have any felonies. And that's how I left that state, without a felony. I'm going to speed this up. I get released. Right across the bridge, Minnesota, they pick me up. I'm out on bond for what they found when I had a car accident a year and a half before this stuff happened. So it was like I spent a half a year in jail in Wisconsin while I was currently out on bond in Minnesota. And when I got out of Wisconsin, Minnesota picks me up and they had me on a case that happened a year and a half before I make a decision at that particular time, somebody gonna give me my jury trial. I'm not agreeing to nothing. I still did not have not one felony on me. And all I had been approached and propositioned by prosecutors offering me years of this and that. And I'm looking at them like they're crazy. I don't have any felonies. Who are you talking about years? I ain't got not one felony. I get to Minnesota. Well, he was found this, and that. Was it a felony in Wisconsin? Well, it's not a felony there, but it's was it a felony in Wisconsin? No, then it's not a felony here, even if it is. They didn't charge him with a felony. They charged him with a misdemeanor in Wisconsin. So the decision that I made was that I'm not accepting anything. Somebody gonna bring me in front of a jury. If you're gonna be racist and prejudiced against me, I need to see all of your faces. What happened was I still didn't go to a jury trial or court trial. They came back to me and said, we're going to give you time served. I got out of jail in Wisconsin, having done 195 days. Minnesota came pick me up. I spent another 4 months in Minnesota, and I was released on my own recognizance to parole. Sentence they gave me was a year. What you do a year in Minnesota is 8 months. Of that 8 months, 4 of it was good time. I got out in 4 months. After sitting 6.5 in a different state, I came over here and gave you 4 more months. This is just one cycle after another cycle for me. And the only player, please listen to me, the only player that has been consistently with me through my walk through life is who? Outside the creator energy that I believe in. Who has been walking through me every cycle, every twist and turn in my life? CIA. Did my father used to work with the CIA? I'm starting to feel like my parent is the CIA. They're in my life the way they are. Please say that my father didn't work for the CIA and something happened, and now you just giving his kid hell? Or did my father work for the CIA in a different capacity than maybe an agent? I do know the CIA have their specialists. I don't know. So I'm going to end this. I don't want to start rattling because I know I can go for a while. Again, as I said, there's 2 things that I've come to notice in my life. The consistency of a creator that I believe in, that is nameless, that either energy mirrors my creator or my creator is mirroring, I can't even say it. My creator is mirroring energy, or energy is mirroring my creator. Okay? That has been the one constant throughout my life. Outside of that, the only other entity that has been in my life has been the CIA. I'm darn near like, why the hell haven't they given me a job? I give you a big hint. It might have something to do with the color of my skin. It might have something to do with me taking the Chicago police officer exam when I got out of the military, and them denying me, meaning we don't accept you into the fraternal order because we know they already have plans for you. So that tells me that the CIA also intercepted the results of me becoming a Chicago police officer because they wanted me to do something else. Maybe perhaps because of who my father was, and I still don't know. The sins of the father, maybe, right? I don't know. So, loopholes. This was a rant of some sort or whatever about loopholes. And then I went in to discuss other little things. Yeah, so this is how I'm going to hit you guys from now on. I'm just going to pick a topic and I'm going to run with it. And probably more than likely, definitely more than likely, the topic that I choose is going to refer to secret societies. Hey, let's find out more, shall we? I truly want to find out so much more from an entity, from a government, from a corporation, from a cult, anyone that expresses the level and magnitude of interest in me. I want to reciprocate by letting them know how much I know of you, and continue to put you through the ringer of having to not allowing it to get out to the masses, but knowing that I do know, because that is what I want you to know. However close or off it is, just the fact that I bring speculation or attention to something is enough to worry any individual that think that this could fall in the hands of someone that do have the resources to properly investigate something. I guess that must be the Chicago police officer that I never became that's in me, that shines. The reason why I believe certain law enforcement officer could not grasp the idea of why we know that this person sells drugs or smokes weed, whatever, and we can't get anyone that we know that we've paid in the past to get him for us. They will get anyone else out here doing these things but him. Why? It's been Joe. Thanks.